discussing about effective speaking briefly. Today I'm going to wind up this topic with you people and move over to the next aspect where speaking skills are very, very important. That is your visual presentation and presentation skills. So we're going to cover visual presentation as part of your topic of presentation skills itself. So the last I think this is, yes. So guidelines of effective speaking was the last slide that I had to discuss with you. Yesterday we had discussed the characteristics of effective speaking and what are the factors involved in speaking: language, context, situation, environment. All these things, they have an impact on our speech, right? So whenever you listen to these public speakers, or whenever you listen to anybody who impresses you by his or her conversation, what impresses us mostly is their selection of words, their manner of speaking. For example, Amitabh Bachchan, the moment he's there on the screen, you hold on to your remote for a while just to listen to what he has to say. And it is not just the selection of words, the voice modulation. The other day I gave his example for the baritone. That is the term used for the kind of voice, the tonality of his voice that is there. So your voice, your message is a combination of your voice, and it is a combination of your words. Words and voice, they come together and make up our message. And how we select the words, kind of sentences we frame, and the voice modulation that we use, it is this that leaves an impact on other people. There is a reason from various popular movies that we watch, we remember them for their dialogues. Like any of the movies where you remember the actor, or you remember the movie because of the dialogue, it is because that conversation, that could be a monologue also, or it could be a dialogue, that conversation has had an impact on you, because that is that situation. Maybe you relate yourself to that particular individual, you relate yourself to that particular situation, and then you try to assess that, wow, what a beautiful way of expressing the same thought, same ideology, same feeling. Wish I could do it. Like you people do not unfortunately have literature in your as a part of your syllabus, but initially your seniors, they have studied even prose as part of their communication skills, and one of the prose pieces that was there in their syllabus was I Have a Dream. How many of you read or heard what is I Have a Dream? Nobody's heard of it. Aditya Pratap Singh? Aditya Pratap Singh.
Yes, ma'am.
I Have a Dream. What is it? Is this an essay, a speech, a radio talk, a novel, the title of a novel, or what? Yes, Akshay.
Ma'am,
Okay, yes, Aditya.
Ma'am,
Just
ma'am,
a
I
moment.
think it may be a novel.
Okay. Yes,
I
Akshay.
know.
ma'am, is it a speech of Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yes, yes. It is the world famous speech of Martin Luther King. And when we get into the analysis of this speech, the selection of words and the manner of the delivery, that makes a lot of difference. That's what we're going to discuss next when we talk about presentation skills. So I'm going to quickly go over these particular points because they're going to be discussed again when we take up presentation skills. So when we talk about effective speaking, if Aditya, go through this, even if you Google, you will find it over there. I Have a Dream. Particularly what I love about this particular speech is repetition of this phrase, I have a dream, I have a dream, and the emphasis that it creates, the impact that it leaves. one is I, and then the dream. And the beauty is that the personal pronoun I, the manner in which it is said, it doesn't limit the dream to himself. The dream is extended to every Black American or every Black individual. That's the beauty of that speech. Anyways, if you read it or if you hear it, then you will understand the impact that it leaves, right? Or sometimes when you remember certain words spoken by your parents, they leave a long lasting impact. Like, my dad would often tell me that we can never love individuals as a whole, but we can love people only in parts. And this is something, this idea, this thought, today he's not there with me, but this particular idea, it actually keeps ringing in my mind. And it is so true. It is such a valuable thought, right? But it's how I can go telling you the importance of every individual in your life for half an hour at a stretch. I can go on talking about it, but these two lines are enough to communicate the essence of this very idea or this very thought, the importance every individual has in your life, whether the person has left you with a good experience or with a bad experience, right? Every bad experience has initially a good beginning, right? Every relationship has a good beginning and then it moves towards the other sort of endings. So it's just about the choice of words and it's about the manner in which you speak it. So guidelines for effective speaking: pleasant appearance. Do you really feel speaking has anything to do with appearance also?
Ma'am, non-verbal
I
communication.
Yes, Akshat.
I think that posture really matters when you want to leave an impact on someone. Like if you're sloppy in your posture, then it won't leave an impact on someone that
Yes,
much as your desire.
true. Yes, Vihan.
Ma'am, in the last 5 or so years, I used to go for a lot of MUNs and things, and it's mostly to do with speaking. And
Hmm.
there would be certain people who would be wearing, I don't know, more expensive suits, or there'll be a different style compared to everyone else. And
Hmm.
when you stand out from everyone else, those delegates tended to have a much more prominent and intimidating speech, and everyone seemed
Yes.
to want to go towards them.
Yes, that matters actually. That first, when you prepare for your interview, this is one thing that is going to be emphasized a lot. That is your appearance, your style, because that's the first impression. The moment you enter the room, that first image that is created. Oh, it's like you're able to stun the people. And see, clothes, like people say, they don't matter. What you are as an individual matters, but it matters to a certain extent. Please do not be carried away. When we talk about, it's not about how expensive, it's about how well dressed you are. How your clothes, your appearance
Presentable.
enhances your personality, strengthens your presence. Yes.
No, I was saying that you should be presentable enough, not fashionable,
Yes.
but presentable enough.
Yes, exactly. It's not about being decked up from top to bottom in brands. That's not style. It's, sometimes you wear something really simple, right? Like when we talk about Swami Vivekanand, he was not somebody who was dressed up in fancy attires, but he is acknowledged. He is his speech, the Chicago Address, is still counted as one of the best speeches, right? So pleasant appearance matters, your confidence, because his personality, the manner in which he made the eye contact and the voice, all these things, they mattered. So many things go into your appearance. It's not just the set of clothes. But Vihan, you are also right, it's not about expensive, but it's like according to the occasion. If you are appropriately dressed up, if you're suited and booted, and of course expensive clothes, they leave their own impact, because the fabric, the kind of stitching, there is a difference at times, right? So know your topic, purpose, and audience. This is again, okay, that gives me actually an opportunity to, yes, Vihan.
Ma'am, I think expensive is the wrong word. The word I was trying to say is clothes that stand
Impressive.
out.
Yes, impressive. Rather than expensive, we can say impressive. Clothes that stand out, clothes that make you, a face in the crowd. Now, like if all of you are for example, when I take the presentations in the class, so students generally they wear a formal shirt, right? At max, very few, just a handful of students will care for a tie. I'm talking about the boys at the moment. But there is just students, I can count them on my fingers, maybe 2 or 3 who will be, even for online presentations, they will be suited up completely properly. And that appearance does leave an impact. And compared to them, there are certain bunch of students who, ma'am, I forgot, ma'am, I didn't have a formal shirt, ma'am, my clothes are there. I understand, but it is about the extra mile that you walk. It is about the extra effort that you make to make yourself presentable for the occasion. It talks about your dedication. It talks about your seriousness. It talks about your professionalism, because tomorrow, even today, like in this pandemic situation, there are many professionals who are also stuck, right? They have returned to their hometowns. Now, when they have returned to their hometowns, nobody knew the situation would be like this. But for their online presence, they have to make the required arrangement. They cannot get away by saying, I'm here, I'm there. The other person may accept it, but then if you have made that effort to look presentable despite the oddities around you, it counts, it matters, right? So second is knowing the topic, knowing the purpose, and knowing the audience. Now, when we talk about presentation skills, this particular point gives me an opportunity to introduce the next topic to you, that is presentation skills. Presentation skills are very, very important and a very, very significant part of our life. We just cannot avoid giving presentations. For us teachers, every day is a presentation, right? Every day, every moment is a presentation. When you are there in the interview, you're presenting yourself. When you deliver a speech, you're presenting yourself. If you're anchoring a program, you're presenting yourself. When you're addressing any kind of gathering, you're presenting yourself. So presentation is a broader term, and within this umbrella term, there are so many smaller categories. Raising a toast is a presentation. Nowadays, because of how the cultures they are mixing and how we are imbibing certain rituals from the other cultures that we really like, so it has become kind of a ritual in many weddings. I see that before the wedding has to take place, generally the cocktail party or anything, so there will be people, the relatives or the close family members, saying a word or two for the bride and the groom, or bride or the groom, as the case may be, right? That again is a presentation. That again is a presentation, right? So we cannot escape giving presentation. And when I always tell my students one thing, that as freshers in any organization, the manner in which you give your presentation is going to leave a long lasting impact on the people. Why? Because as a fresher, you don't have any experience. As a fresher, you don't have any backup, so to say, that he is known for this. But when you get the opportunity to present yourself the first time, even if it is introducing yourself, or even if it is giving a presentation on some topic or taking care of an event, that is an opportunity when you can make your presence felt by the manner in which you carry yourself and the manner in which you present yourself, the way you speak, the confidence that you have. All these things, they go a long way in making you conspicuous, or making you a face in that huge organization. Otherwise, on the basis of your work, only those people will know you who are connected with that work. But these occasions are an opportunity to make yourself known to many other people in different departments in the organization. So coming to the presentation skills, we talk about the 4 P's of presentation: planning, preparation, practice, and performance. So knowing your topic, purpose, and audience, they are the planning part of your presentation. Like they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And this is so very true. Knowing the purpose of your presentation. What do we understand by purpose? What is the purpose? What is the purpose of a presentation? Yes, Vihan?
Ma'am, it's to get your point across. When
Yes.
your presentation is on a certain topic, it's to give as much information as possible on that topic without showing any bias towards one side of it.
Yes, very true, very true. What is the purpose? What is the focus? What is the that pointer why I am giving this presentation? For example, for me, taking up this topic, effective speaking, and I'm aligning it with presentation skills also, because I know presentation skills is all about speaking. Right, apart from your slides, of course, all about speaking. So I am aligning it, this particular topic, with presentation skills, because I know these are exactly the same points which I'm going to discuss in that topic also. So purpose of my delivering this particular session is that I tell my students, I inform my students about the importance of delivering effective presentations. Each one of you can give a presentation, but how many of you can give an impactful presentation? And this makes all the difference. How many of you can give a presentation that people remember you because of your presentation? When we talk about presentations, it is about branding. It is about image building. It is about sometimes your topic becomes your brand. Sometimes you become the brand. Right. Sometimes, people know the manner in which this individual is going to deal with this topic is going to be like, actually exemplary. At times, your manner of speaking is such that you yourself become somebody who is known because of his or her speaking skills. So in the organization, your presentations are also a way of creating your brand. Like you often hear me telling you people in the class that every day we are formulating a definition of ourselves. We are defining ourselves by our presence, by our absence, by our reactions and responses, right? Like sometimes during the class, while teaching you also, I simply scroll down the list, and at times I come across students on hold. Now, if it is for a moment, it is understood. Maybe you're logged in through your phone and there is a call. Sometimes there are some students who have logged into the class and then they are just on hold, sometimes for half an hour. Even if I give you the attendance for that particular class, even if I do, though I don't, you have formulated your definition in my mind. I know you have defined you in a certain way, which is not very positive. And this image will go a long way in my judgment or evaluation or assessment of you. So presentations, they are an opportunity to brand ourselves, to label ourselves, to define ourselves in the best possible way in the organization, and hence it should be taken seriously. Right. So coming to the planning part, the second point, the topic, the purpose, and the audience analysis of the presentation. Purpose, there are three basic reasons why we give presentations: either to inform, like sharing information, or to persuade, to convince people. Like all these the TED Talks, when they happen, they're not just simply information. They are trying to convince you about a certain belief, right? Or to demonstrate, when you show how something works, right? Sometimes your presentation is a mix of two or all three, right? So either to inform or to persuade or to demonstrate. These are the basic three reasons why we give presentations. Next, we come to audience. Audience analysis. Anybody who would like to share with me, what do you understand by audience analysis? Yash Kapoor. Wait, I'll come back to you, Vihan. Yash Kapoor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Yash. So who is our audience and what do we mean by audience analysis, Yash?
Ma'am, in what context do you mean? Like when we're giving a presentation, who is the audience, or
What are the topics that we are dealing with here?
Ma'am, guidelines for effective speaking.
And I have correlated this topic with some other topic also.
Ma'am, I might have disconnected in between the class 2-3
Okay.
times.
Okay, no problem. We are right. So over here we are taking two parallel aspects together. One is your audience, your listener in general. Second is your audience as a presenter. Now, will you tell me what do we mean by audience analysis? Okay, yes, Akshat.
Yes, ma'am. What I think audience analysis is firstly getting to know what your audience is and then adapting yourself to their interest and level of understanding. Like if the audience, you have to come to the level of your audience if you want to persuade or if you want to put yourself on the table for them.
Very good. True. Yes,
Your
we have.
attitudes and your beliefs should be same,
Yes.
kind of.
Similar. Cannot be same, but similar.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I wanted to
Yes.
say. Thank you.
Yes, Vihan.
Ma'am, audience analysis is the most important thing because if you're making a presentation, you need to tailor it to a certain audience. You can't, for example, if you're speaking to people who don't understand English properly and then using complicated words, you can't
Yes.
expect everyone to understand.
True. Very true. Right. So that is audience analysis, understanding your audience, right? Now, because there are two ways that it happens, one is when we consider our audience like anybody I'm striking a conversation with. So I need to understand who my audience is and what kind of language that I'm using. Simple and understandable language. It is very, very important, right? And a language that is free from biases. I think this we've discussed so many times. That is no gender, no community, not even gender, no community, no culture, no region, no religion, no anybody. You shouldn't take up examples, you shouldn't use words that hurt the sentiments of a certain community or people coming from any particular gender. So our language should be free of any kind of biases. Sometimes we are very careless with the examples that we give. We sometimes just use it humorously maybe, but many times people feel bad about it, right? Many times people feel really bad about it. So be positive, enthusiastic and energetic. Now your attitude always has an impact on the audience, be it a person you're striking a conversation with or your audience as a presenter when you're giving a presentation or delivering a speech, right? Your uh, being positive. Yesterday only we were attending one FDP on happiness, and one thing that came out from this FDP was that we must encourage ourselves and we must encourage our students to use positive words, positive communication. Because in the stressful world that we live, positive words and positive communication, positive language has a deeper impact than the negative words. That is, the use of negatives, cannot, would not, difficult, should be less in the sentence construction. It comes with practice, but if you try, you can build that positivity around you. You can build that hope around you. Why negate the possibility of accomplishing something? Why not build up the possibility despite the difficulty? So there is a difference in the two viewpoints, right? Sound enthusiastic and energetic while delivering the presentation. It is very, very important that to engage your audience. When we talk about audience analysis, to engage your audience, to get the attention of the audience, because in the middle of the presentation the attention of the audience starts wavering. So we have to be energetic, we have to be enthusiastic, so that because of your voice people are compelled to listen to you, pay attention to you, even if they are here and there on their social networking platforms, but they're compelled to listen to you, right? In normal conversation, when we talk about you being energetic, enthusiastic, it depends, of course, on the occasion. If it is something you're trying to explain to somebody, or if it is a neutral situation, there is no sadness about it, then your body language must complement your message. If it is a very disappointing, a sad scenario in somebody's life, you're trying to be empathetic, then you must your conversation with that person should not be that of, oh, I sympathize with you, it's something really bad that happened, but trying to bring that person out of that stupor, out of that situation. If you also start sympathizing with that person, because when a person is in the victim mode, the person is, person wants sympathy, and if you end up giving that sympathy only, then you're not helping that person. So how you frame your conversation, that is positive, that is energetic, that is encouraging, that brings that person out of that slumber, out of that that darkness, you so to say, in which that person has fallen. So our conversation, we are making the conversations, it matters a lot. Clarity of speech, I think clarity is something that we've already discussed so many times, that your speech should be clear in two ways: your pronunciation and your enunciation. Enunciation is the individual sounds of the words, sounds in the word, and pronunciation is how the entire word is being pronounced. So there has to be clarity of speech and, of course, clarity of thought and ideas. Polite, considerate, and courteous. So in order to engage your audience, you have to be polite, you have to have that you attitude, and you have to be respectful towards them, their feelings. And this particularly also, relates to the question answer round. Sometimes the audience may come up with very irritating questions, really nasty questions at times, just to pull your leg, just to make you uncomfortable, or just to make you feel I know more than what you have just delivered the presentation on. So these are those times when you have to be polite, when you have to be courteous, when you have to maintain your cool, when you have to understand. If you have done your audience analysis well, you will know why that question is being put, because the tone of the person, the manner in which the person is asking that question will be enough to tell you whether it is a genuine question or it is a tangential question, that it is just a question for the heck of it. So at that time, retaining your cool, maintaining your mental stability is very, very important, because I've seen people even in class presentations getting into an argument, losing out their cool just because of the kind of question and the manner of cross questioning that starts happening, right? And when we are in normal conversations, when we are angry with somebody, when we are not very on good terms, at that time, I understand it is difficult to be polite, to be considerate, to be courteous at the same time. But remember one thing, you might have this topic rapport building in the next class, in the next semester, but there are terms known as mirroring, matching, and pacing. So what happens is, generally when we are having a conversation with any individual, we mirror, we match, and we pace our verbal and non-verbal communication to the verbal and non-verbal communication of the other person. So if you scream, if you raise your voice, even I raise my voice. If you are using formal language, automatically my language also becomes formal. This is how we try to maintain pace with each other. So when you are angry and the other person is also raising the voice, what happens is you start pacing each other's reactions. So if one starts mismatching the reactions, automatically the other person will also cool down. This is just one small example that I've given you. If you are energetic as a speaker, you will find the interest of the audience in your presentation. If you are not convinced by the topic on which you're giving the presentation, no matter how beautiful your slides are, how wonderfully you have researched on the topic, but if you are not convinced, if there is that energy lacking in you, if you it will have that ripple effect. Those people will also not be affected by it, right? Cultural awareness, very important in the professional world. Meetings, video presence, interaction with the clients, interaction with other people, cross-culture communication, sensitivity towards people coming from different cultural backgrounds, and molding or changing your language according to them is very, very important. What do you think are the points? Maybe if, let's assume you have to give a presentation to an audience that is not Indian, that is, let's say, a mix of French, American, Chinese people. So what difference will be there, or will there be any difference in the manner in which you have to deliver your presentation? Will
Ma'am, we have
certain
to take.
things in your delivery undergo a change, or nothing will undergo a change? Yes, Vihan.
Ma'am, you have to be. There are two things. So, first of all, since they're from different nationalities, we can't guarantee that their English will be at the same level that ours is. So, we have
Yes.
to use simpler language, etc.
Hmm.
And we have to be considerate of their individual cultures while mentioning any point.
Yes, very good. Very good. Yes. Anything, any other point anybody has?
We have to take their point of view also, like which background, like the French person might have different views regarding different nations, so we cannot take the examples of nations in this conversation.
Yes, very true, very true. Or let's see, let's assume that your audience also has people from the Middle East. Then what all changes will be there in your presentation or in your manner of delivery? Yes? What will undergo a change? Come on, Arshdeep, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What all things will undergo a change?
I have no idea.
At least don't say, Arshdeep, that you don't have any idea. I will ask you to turn on the camera. I know it is the 9:15 class. Yes? Arshdeep, what is it that we are discussing?
We are discussing about the effective speaking with the in a giving presentations, effective presentations on the crowd.
Hmm. So we are focusing on which aspect? Audience analysis,
Yes, ma'am.
right? That is how the audience has an impact on our presentation. Are
How
we
the ma'am?
discussing this?
No, we were discussing like if we have a audience which doesn't know English or they are from foreign country,
Hmm.
how can we give impact from our presentation on them?
बात तो वही हुई ना, Arsh. The question is the same, no? That while giving the presentation to a multicultural audience, what all things will undergo a change? That is audience analysis only, no? That is assessment of your audience. And when they were giving, they wonderfully explained like your language, your examples, your content will undergo a change. That's exactly what will happen if you have people from the Middle East also. You have to be extra sensitive, you have to be extra cautious, because that's not a very, very liberal society. So what
Okay.
images you are using might undergo a change. You can turn off the camera, Arsh. I just wanted to see how alert you are. Right? Yes, Rama.
Ma'am, the choices of words. The words in our language means different in the another language.
Okay, yes, the selection of words will change. Your attitude will change. Very good, Rama. Yes, Prajwal. Yes.
Uh, Ma'am, we can also say that the fact that most of them don't have their first language to be English, we should avoid
Yes.
using big words and very complicated words.
Yes, yes, very true. So your language has to be simple. Your language has to be easy to understand. We cannot make it very complex and complicated, right? Yes, Parth?
The same point, like language can be a big barrier in this conversation, so we should use a non-verbal communication and images and stuff to picture it what we are trying to say, in order so that the different regions, different country people can also understand without having a language barrier.
Language barrier, right? Very good, right? So many. So will you agree if I say audience has a lot of impact on our language, on our attitude, on our style, our approach, our content?
Yes, ma'am.
As right, it has a lot of impact on us, so we have to cater to the needs of the audience. That is why audience analysis is so important. And in fact, there is an acronym of audience. I will share with you that, just a moment. Lenny Leskowski, if you happen to get hold of this book, Painless Presentations, that's a wonderful book on presentation skills.
It's painless presentations.
Yeah, Painless Presentations. It's a nice book, not a very thick one, a very thin book. Even I have it, but it's a wonderful book on delivering effective presentations. So audience analysis, yeah, that's the acronym that is there of audience analysis before the presentation. See, we talk about two types of audience analysis that happens. Prajwal, do you have any query or any observation to add? Okay, so there are two
I'm sorry,
types
ma'am, I
of
forgot to get
analysis
my
that
hand
we
up.
There are two types of analysis that we do. One is before the presentation and second is during the presentation. Like, during the presentation, it is all about getting the interest or retaining the interest of the audience, or deciding when to fast forward your presentation, when to skip certain, or when to, just add those lighter moments from the people present in the audience, or from the topic that you're discussing, so that you can get the interest of the audience back in your presentation. But when you are planning your presentation, we were talking about the planning part of the presentation. Audience analysis, A stands for analysis. That is, who are the people? How many people are going to be there present for my presentation? How many people I'm going to address, right? Understanding, U stands for understanding. What is the prior knowledge that they have of my subject? If they do not have any knowledge, then I have to start from the basics. And if they already have some knowledge, then I need to go to the next level. Demographics, that's very important. This is the point that we discussed just now. We have to be very careful of the gender, the age, the educational background, the socioeconomic background, the religious background, and all the factors that you can think of which can be covered under demographics. These things, they impact each and every aspect of our presentation. There are three elements of any given presentation: content, audience, and presenter. Right? Content, audience, you remove one and the other two are useless. Right? Out of these three, I personally feel audience has the capacity and the capability of impacting the presenter and impacting the content also. So these two are hugely dependent on the audience. But this is also equally true that your presenter, if you have good, excellent presentation skills, you can really carry off a very boring or monotonous topic also. So then demographics is understanding the background of the audience. Interest. How will you interpret this particular point? Interest. Why do we need to understand the interest level of the audience? What impact does it have on me as a presenter? Yes, Parth.
If we do not take the interest level of the audience into consideration, then we might present them something which they don't actually want to know more about.
Yes,
It
we
will
have.
be very boring.
Yes.
Ma'am, capturing interest is everything. If you don't capture the interest, then you're not presenting anything worthwhile, or they're not really understanding what you're saying, and then your presentation is entirely null and void.
Yes. So the interest, understanding the interest of the audience. Now, somebody in the class asked me in one of the sessions that, ma'am, how we will get to know about the interest of the audience if the audience is new to us? Now, how can you get to know about the interest of the audience if the audience is new to you? What do you do in that case?
Start a presentation with a general topic which more or less covers more or less is of interest of the people, and then graduate to a more advanced topic which might be of interest of them
Okay, that's
during the
also one
presentation.
way. Good. Yes, Prajwal?
Ma'am, this might be an orthodox one, but go off stereotypes and hope you are correct. Go off,
Sorry, Prajwal?
go off stereotypes and
Okay.
hope you are correct.
Okay. But yes, it's
That's
like
a hit and miss.
okay, yeah, we can try that. We can try that. Yes. Yes, Akshat?
What I think is you have to read the room while you present.
You have to read the room. That's wow, what a wonderful sentence you have used. You have to read the room while present. I'll note it down, Akshat. Good. Right.
Thank you,
That's
ma'am.
very, very important. You have to, at that particular moment, you get an idea about the audience. There is a reason, that is the next point that I had to deal with. Yes, Aditya.
Ma'am, sometimes you have to make the audience participate in your presentation.
Yes, you have to make the audience to retain their interest. That's another interpretation, another point of view. Very good. Very good. Araf. Araf Malik. Araf Malik. Araf Malik is not in the class. Yes, Araf. What do we mean by interest? Understanding the level of interest of the audience. Unmute yourself, Araf. Oh, we don't have the option of unmuting the audience. Simply raising the hand won't suffice, Araf. Okay, write your answer in the chat box. What do you understand by who asked them to be there? Is this also important? Who has asked the people to be present there? Has this anything to do with the interest level of the audience? Who has asked you to be present for the presentation? Yes, Akshat.
Ma'am, I want to add a point to the previous question you asked.
Hmm.
Uh, I guess the interest will also depend on the age group of the audience. So
Very
if
true.
yeah, I have to modify or alter my presentation according to the age
Age
group
group.
that's
Yeah,
present there
that's exactly
in the
the
audience.
previous point. Demographics, why you need to understand that, right? That will decide the interest level of the audience. True. Yes, Aditya.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Now I want to say about who asked them to be there. Ma'am, yes, ma'am, it's really important.
Hmm.
As in school assemblies, there were topics about assemblies, but we weren't interested at all.
Wonderful example. Wonderful example. Yes, Aditya. And quite relatable also. So sometimes is it it is a compulsory presence, or is it out of interest that people have come to listen to you? Gives you a very clear idea about what will be the interest level of the audience, right? And background check. Whenever you are going to give a presentation, it is always good to do a background check of the occasion. Generally, you get a thorough detail, a concept note, or if it is the office presentation in the office scenario, then who is going to be your audience? Try to find out about them if you can. So this Reiki of your audience will help you. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But at least the experts, people who are experts, or people who are your direct, people who are directly going to be your stakeholders, at least you should have some information about them. It will always help you to customize your presentation accordingly. E is environment. Okay, Akshat, any other point you want to add?
No, ma'am, I'm really sorry. I'll lower my
Okay,
hand.
no problem. No, Araf, please bring your hand down. I have seen your message in the chat box. Okay, environment is the venue. Where will I stand? Will everybody be able to, hear me? Will I be able to see everyone? Everyone will be able to see me. All these things, they are very small little things, but they matter. There was a reason why in school before your annual, you remember you had that a day before rehearsal, full dress rehearsal, one day before the annual day, so that you got used to that stage, to that particular place. Even for the interview, it is suggested you arrive at the venue at least 15 to 20 minutes before your turn is to come, so that you get, accustomed to the place. Half of your nervousness level goes down if you are present there before your time. It also gives you an opportunity to, understand the place, have a look at the people over there. That also gives you a very clear idea about what kind of audience you're going to have. Right? And maybe you're in the habit of moving about and then giving the presentation. That will also help you to understand, is it possible or not, or I'll have to change my modus operandi. Oh, there is no room for walking around. I need to stay put in one place. People who are in the habit of moving around, for them standing in one place and delivering the presentation is very difficult. I find it very difficult, right? So you have to you should be there at least 15-20 minutes or half an hour before your turn is to be, before the event is to begin. Needs, what are their needs and what are your needs as a speaker? This again, you correlated it when you were discussing the interest level of the audience, that I must do a need analysis of my audience. What is it exactly what they want from me? And what is my need as a presenter? What is it that I want to share? Which aspect of knowledge I have that can benefit my audience? Very, very important. Customized. What specific needs do you need to address? That is, you need to change your presentation. Like when we took up the example of culture, according to your audience, according to the place, according to the theme, according to the situation, there could be many changes that you might have to make in your presentation. And then expectations. What do they expect to learn or hear from you? What are your expectations? What are my expectations from this presentation? At the end of the day, when the session ends, what do I expect will my audience have learned? Or what are the expectations of the audience that when this session comes to an end, this is what we will have learned from this presentation or imbibed from this particular session. It seems very detailed and elaborate, but all these things, they happen, sometimes of second. For example, you are working on your presentations, I'm sure. And for you people, somehow I know the audience is only limited to your teacher, that's me. But I'll suggest that cater to all the other people also in your class. That who is your audience, and you know that ma'am is going to focus on our attire, on our appearance, on our speaking skills. So what will happen is and how you have made the slides, so you people are going to be very much focused on your mannerisms, the way you speak, the way you talk, compared to when you're going to give a core subject presentation. Somehow, I don't know why it happens, you're more focused on the content. Is this right or wrong? I might be wrong also. When it comes to your core subjects, there is a shift in the focus.
Yes, ma'am, it's right.
Isn't it? You are more focused.
Ma'am, we are more focused on our topic of presentation.
Yes, right. Because you feel and that this is what is more important. The topic is more important. But remember, if your presentation skills are very sharp, if you are a very good presenter, you can actually end up impressing your co-teachers also by your presentation skills. Because of you as a speaker, sometimes you know what happens? Certain errors, certain mistakes, they get overlooked because you completely enthrall the audience by the manner in which you speak. That is what, sometimes we get carried away by the way the person is giving the presentation. This is not to say that you can get away with the mistakes. No. Himank Bhatia? right? So audience analysis is again very, very important. Understanding your audience, understanding your people who you're going to deliver the presentation, and according to that you should customize your presentation. Now if we correlate it to our general day-to-day conversations with people in the workplace situation, conducting meetings, reprimanding a person, giving a feedback to an individual, again at the end of the day, remember that video clipping that we had watched, two situations, use of language, the manner of speaking, the change in the body language, in the tone, and the difference in the impact. Try changing your speaking style if you feel that somehow there is some flaw in the manner in which you conduct yourself, in the manner in which you select your words, or sometimes you're so careless with your words you don't even bother about how you're going to hurt the other person or how much your words are going to hurt, your choice of words. You are worthless. Oh my god, this is a terrible word. I still remember my younger brother, when he took admission in nursery, actually for 5 years, for the first 3 or 4 years, he was with my grandmother because both my parents were working and I was going to school, so it was not possible for them to take care of him. So they left him in the village with grandmother and other people at home. Now, what happened was when they brought him to Shimla, I actually belong to Shimla. So what happened was that when he entered the classroom, initially, of course, language became a big barrier. Now the teachers wouldn't understand the words that he was using, and he wouldn't understand what the teachers are saying because he was not initiated. We didn't expect, that our grandmother or other people at home are going to converse with him in English or even in proper Hindi. So language became a big barrier. And when the first report card of the first session came and there was a teacher interaction, so teacher mentioned it in the report card, he is a duffer and dumb. I still remember. And my father, he took that report card, he went to the principal and he ensured that how can you label a 6-year-old child duffer and dumb? Have you done the audience analysis of the child? Do you know your student well? And when the teacher comes, she again uses the same two words. Oh, no, he doesn't understand what we say and we don't understand what he is saying. He's totally dumb. There is something really wrong with him. Maybe he's a slow learner. So the kind of words, and my father was, he was good to give them back in the sense that you cannot use, and even today you cannot use such adjectives or such words to describe a child. Later on, they worked on him, we worked on his language, and well, there was lots of improvement, and the same teacher had a very, very positive feedback to give of the same student after 1 year. So what kind of language you're using, what kind of words you're using has a lot of impact on your listener, on the person who's going to be listening to you, even when you're giving a presentation. So understanding your audience, understanding the person is very, very important. And one last point that was there in that previous slide was be a good listener. This is a point I did not take up in detail because we've already discussed the importance of effective listening. If you're not a good listener, you can never be a good speaker. And this particularly matters during the question answer round. We don't listen to the question properly and we come up with our explanation, which is already set there in the mind, and maybe the question is something else. So, well, that's it for the day. It's 10:13 as I can see it. If you have any doubts, any query, any question related to the topic, we can take it up tomorrow. So till that time, stay safe, stay healthy, have a wonderful day ahead.
Excuse me, ma'am.